to the Get At Gaming Plus podcast. I'm Alex,
I'm Ben.
and we like to talk about everything that we like to talk about. That's the easiest way to say it. We like to talk about whatever we like, whether that is like video games. We talk about today, so we're gonna be talking about the PlayStation Showcase stuff. We talk about movies and TV shows. If you like Rush Hour or Cobra Kai, check our backlog because we talked about both those movies and like those shows, seasons. Like we talk about a lot of cool things here, and I really do appreciate that. It's nice to talk to Ben here about pretty much anything, and we're always pretty much vibing on the same kind of stuff. We talk about like anime occasionally. We have an episode somewhere where we talk about like our top 10 anime, I want to say, or top 5.
Yeah,
It's an older one. I still stand by that list pretty much.
yeah,
And yeah, just go in our backlog, just go over there, go on youtube.com/getatgaming and just choose an old episode and comment that you were there or you're that you are there. Because comments help us a lot, likes help us out a lot. You know what else helps us out a lot? Going over to one of the podcast services that we're on, whether that is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave us a review on any of those. Reviews help us out a lot as well on all those things. Tangent, kind of, not really. I've been listening a lot of Defining Duke lately because it just shows up. I don't know if you know what Defining Duke is. That's the Colin Last Stand Media, but it's the Xbox podcast with none of.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. They do a thing at like the beginning of their episodes where they really push the Apple reviews, and then they read the reviews on air. So like
Oh wow.
yeah, they read them and they're like, if you give us 5 stars, we'll read whatever you write. Not really for that here, but we appreciate if you give us good reviews, and if they are nice reviews or something specific, yeah, I mean we read them on air as well. You can leave comments. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, so if you go over there and you want to say something there, definitely do that, and we can open up a dialogue. And if you're a content creator and you want to collab, reach at us. We have a business email that's out there in the ether. You can find it, I believe, on Twitter. I don't want to
Yeah.
say it out loud, but we do have a business email. You can reach us, or you can DM us on either Twitter or Facebook, and we can try to do that. Because this year, we're trying to do more collaborations with different people. So by the time you're listening to this already, we would have already had another collaboration live, assuming it happened, assuming nothing went wrong. I don't want to say what it is, just in case something did happen and it didn't go wrong. But if everything went well, next week you'll be hearing something pretty nice in our normal off weeks, because this is a bi-weekly podcast. I don't know if I said that earlier, but when we have interviews and stuff or collaboration episodes, those will probably go in the off weeks just to give you a little something extra, especially for the summer, because you're all out there, you're mowing your lawn, you're walking your dogs, you're trying to get in shape at the gym, and you need something to listen to. So why not have 2 episodes and have an extra episode every other week? So be nice. That's
Yeah.
enough rambling from me. But Ben, how you doing?
Good, good. It is officially summer.
Yeah.
And so the weather's been weird as usual. 40 degrees the other day, and then today was in the almost 90s. And this is the time of year like we always are so busy, but I seem to find more time to play games than in the winter. I don't know why that is.
So speaking of games, and I'm gonna tangent here into what we've been playing, and I'll kind of go into that here. Um, I've been playing a lot of Zelda, like a lot of Zelda. So much so in the past since it's come out, like you can finally see how many hours you put into it. I put in over 40 hours already.
Wow.
I've seen people who've done more, but those people have no lives, whereas I have a little bit of a life. But no, like Zelda is the thing where like I just get stuck and or like stuck playing it, and I just happened with the last one, um, where I check my watch. I'm like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. I'm fine. I can play over a little bit. Check my watch again. It's 1 a.m. Like you just get lost in the
Yeah.
game because there's just so much to do, and like everything just builds on each other, and you just get lost in the adventure, and it's amazing game. I like it so much better than the previous one. I'm currently at a special. I want to give things away, but there are dungeons in this new game, more traditional dungeons, and so I'm at a dungeon fight right now. Before we were recording, um, I lost to the boss, and I got to the halfway point, and then he started like throwing other enemies at me, and then I died, and I got mad, and I was like, you know what, we're gonna record an episode. That's what we're doing here. Um, but that's pretty much all I've really been playing besides Theater Rhythm. I played a little bit of that on a stream recently. I actually streamed again. It's been a while, been a hot minute because I've been on a trip and other things, but they had the Chrono Trigger soundtrack, or the Chrono Trigger DLC on Theater Rhythm, and so I got to play all the Chrono Trigger songs, and I'm still upset with myself that I didn't play and beat that game until now. But at the same time, I feel like I wouldn't have appreciated Chrono Trigger as a kid. Um, like I really like Final Fantasy 6 and stuff, but like I played 4 as a kid, and now 4 I'm more okay with. But 4 I did not like as a kid um
Yeah.
at all, because I just didn't. I just want to do an RPG like Pokemon. I don't want to listen to this dumb narrative and all this other stuff. But like now that I'm older, I enjoy those story elements and stuff more. So yeah, I've played a little bit of Chrono Trigger back in the day. I did not enjoy it. So um yeah, now I've actually played and beat it. Like it is up there in my top games now, for sure.
I, I
Um
think I think it's weird. Like there's games I liked, did not like when I was younger, and then playing them now, I'm like, oh, I really like that game now. I really appreciate it for what it is.
or
And
just
then there's
better.
games, yeah, or there's games that I really liked when I was younger that I try to go back and play, and I'm like, I can't play this. Like as much as I love Final Fantasy X, I think the furthest I got was the halfway mark, little over the halfway mark on like Mount Gaza, I think it
Mhm.
what it was. That last fight with Seymour, like, and I wasn't ready, and I was like, I'm not gonna do what I did before and like spend hours like grinding to get my characters where they need to be so I can actually beat this fight. So I just put it away. But like, yeah, I love you when you did mention like Zelda. I love having a game when you're at work and you're like, all you're thinking about when you're out is like, I want to get home and play that game. It's been a while. I haven't had that for a while. That I want that.
Yeah, the last one for me for that was the vanilla Persona 5, like the original release, so not Royal. And that was one where I was like, I can't wait to play this. I can't wait to play this. I kept thinking about it, and then I beat it, and I was happy with it overall. But then the retrospect, hits you, and you're like, you know what, this game isn't actually as good as the other ones, and so like I I still haven't beaten Royal. I heard Royal is a much better version, and it does some story things that help um, its case, because there are certain characters in the original game that just weren't. good, and they kind of make them a little better and new story beats and stuff.
Right.
But I um yeah, that was the last time like I really felt something like that, besides like Kingdom Hearts 3. Like Kingdom Hearts 3 I sped through. I loved it, the whole thing. Even afterwards, and thinking about it, I realized Kingdom Hearts 3 is still amazing. Like I'm not upset with that game. The Remind DLC definitely helped out with it, but like it's
Right.
not as bad as everyone says it is. They're only upset because they didn't play the rest of the games. Drop mic.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the last game for me was Ghost Tsushima.
Yeah.
Like I just thought about that game all the time, enough to when they did the PS5 version, I bought it and then I redid the platinum on that. So I have two platinums, the PS4 and the PS5 version, which I could have transferred all my data and I didn't.
Did it
I mean,
all again.
I
Yeah.
started the game
Well, you want an
from
excuse to
scratch.
play it again. Like that's the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's the better one. If you're gonna do it, the director's cut is the best version. Um,
I have the original PS4 version, but something came out, and that's why I never finished it.
we talked about it on the podcast even, and the big thing was no lock on.
Yes.
Um, but I think in that type of game, you don't want a lock on
Did
because
Spider-Man come out around that time? Like original Spider-Man?
maybe I don't know.
It
Well,
might
and
have.
if you've got depending on what version of PlayStation Plus you have, the director's cut's on there.
Interesting. No, I just had the base, so I wouldn't
Okay.
have it. But
So like I have the top tier
mhm.
and it's there for me. Um, but I also bought it when it was cheaper,
Yeah. Yeah,
So but
maybe
like
I'll give it a
it's
go
on there.
once we if we ever get an announcement for that
I
sequel.
mean, I think if you were to play even the PS4 version, it has a free upgrade to PS5.
Yeah.
Um, but you don't get the Iki Island stuff, but it's super cheap. I think it's only like $10.
Okay. Interesting.
But you don't want to do any of that until you've actually finished the game
Yeah.
because it even then it's hard. So
Honestly, I might just rebuy it on PS5 and just do it like that because
the director's
I'm
cut's
gonna
gonna be
replay it anyway. Like it's been so long, I wouldn't remember how to play what I did. I'll have to just start from the beginning.
I mean, if you look, you could probably if you watch when they put that on sale, you can probably get it for 40 or $50, you
Yeah.
know. And brand new director's cut with the Iki Island and stuff uh, there. But yeah, definitely. I think that was the one where I was at work and I was like, I really just want to. And you get home, and if you have children, you got to get
Mhm.
everyone showered, everyone into bed. And when everyone would go to bed, I on a work day, I would be up until like 1 a.m. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Wow.
I got to be up at like 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sorry, I went on a tangent
No,
with you
I
on
mean
that.
we all do that and it's totally fine. Speaking of buying things, I kind of want to get into this here really quick because I have a lot of things to talk about. Have there been any things recently for you that you have bought? Any hidden
Y-
trophies?
Yes, but they're not here yet, so I can't really talk about them until they get here. Um, I've got one maybe, and I want to say that my limited run is in production, which is a big thing. Um, it's so funny because like I think I bought that a year ago. As
Dang,
you're, I mean, I, I
photos over
think
here. That
I
took
think
forever.
we yeah. Well, that was the thing is like I had bought a bunch of stuff, and this is the one that took forever. Um, I mean, your Scott Pilgrim, it took a
Over a
year.
year. Over a year.
Yeah, I think limited run themselves. That's the one thing they got to get better about. That's the. I mean, I get it, but like, gosh,
The quality
it,
on everything though is amazing. So like I'm glad they took that year.
yeah. Okay, so I bought this. I bought the limited run PS5 Night Trap. It is numbered. It's number 27, right?
Mm.
I bought it August 12th last year. Okay. It's in production. But here's the crazy part is they took some of those to one of the big like Comic Cons or something
Yeah,
at their
I
table.
heard.
Yeah, so you could buy it.
So people
You
got
could walk up.
early. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's junk. To give you an example, my Battletoads I bought that same year was in May. So
Mm.
you know, and I've already got it. I got that pretty quick, I feel. So, but yeah, I guess, the big thing is like August 12th. I mean, we're rolling into June right now.
Jeez.
Yeah. I was telling Alex, I don't think I'm going to get that before October or September this year.
Probably not.
So, but yeah, I don't have anything here. Next episode I'll have some stuff.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go into the stack of everything that I bought on my trip that I had here really quick. So I went on a trip. I don't really want to say specifically where. I might have said in other places. So if I said in other places, cool. If not, I went on a trip. That's all you really need to know. But on this trip, there are a lot of different half price books and game exchanges is what they're called over there, and other game stores. And so over that trip, there are also sales. I bought quite a few things. So some of the things I bought, in specifically things that I was missing from my collection. For audio listeners, I'm gonna be holding up stuff, so just FYI. Dot Hack GU trilogy. This movie's trash. It's awful. I watched it. It's so bad. It's a retelling of the GU games, but they change stuff and they just make it very abridged. They cut out a lot of the main characters. They just make it really about three main characters, and that's it. There's also weird stuff where like there's references to anime that just feel off. Like Haseo, the main character, he has a transformation where he looks like the nine-tailed fox like version of like Naruto. And
Oh,
then
nice.
I don't know if it was him or if it was like one of the bad guys, but they had Gate of Babylon like from like the Fate Stay Night version where like Gilgamesh just has like all these um weapons and stuff just coming out of portals and just attacking. Like they had that, and there's just other weird references and stuff. But yeah, no, this movie's trash. I hate it, but I have it now, so that's good. Cross off something from my dot hack list. Speaking of more dot
Just
hack,
just so you know, if they ever came out with a Street Fighter Steelbook version,
oh, you're
and
buying
that
it.
movie is not good, I would still buy it.
Oh, for
So,
sure. Fully expect you to do that.
not Mario Brothers, but I would
Yeah,
buy that.
man, these are still sticky because of the. That's another problem. The price stickers, like where I was at, there's still residue on these. I tried to wipe them off with like Clorox wipes even, and it's still here.
Gooby Gone.
Yeah, I need to. So the next thing I got was Dot Hack Roots, which was another thing that was missing. This is a prequel to Dot Hack GU games. Um, it's an anime. It's a pretty bad anime in my opinion, but I haven't watched it all. But it looks like trash. I'm gonna be honest with you. Just it doesn't look good. I got some more Dot Hack. I got Dot Hack GU Volume 2. It's a novel based on the games of GU. I got, let's see, Dot Hack Cell, which is a novel not based on anything. It's kind of its own Dot Hack thing. Um, got another copy of AI Buster 2 Dot Hack because mine is kind of not great because it was like I had this as a middle schooler or whatever. And so my copy, is well loved. Like I've read it, and like took it in my backpack and stuff like that. Like paperback books die in backpacks as a kid. They just get bent up and all that. So I bought another one. Same thing with Dot Hack Mutation. The another birth, which it's the original games, but it's told from Black Rose, her perspective, and so you get a lot of the stuff from like her dealing with school, her dealing with her brother's like issue, and so you just get a lot of good background stuff that you wouldn't get from the games, and it's pretty cool. I got a Detective Conan special book. It's just like a bunch of different cases. I think they go together. I don't know. It's Japanese. um, I got one of the last Dragon Ball that was missing. Now I own all of regular Dragon Ball on DVD. I'm very excited because I'm on the one before this right now currently. I'm watching the King Piccolo stuff, and I haven't watched King Piccolo in a long time, and it's awesome. Like I really like it. Just all the cool stuff that's happening there. I bought all of Inuyasha
Oh wow.
on Blu-ray. So if you need to figure out what I'm doing with my DVDs, because I have it all on DVD. But there was a buy three get three sale in one of the places that we were heading back when we were heading back home, and so I have it all here on Blu-ray, and it's very nice. It has special features, clean openings, clean endings. So that's the thing I bought. I also bought. I can't grab it, but I had like a Lupin DVD. I found one. Um, I got some model kits. I got a Gallantmon or Dukemon, Digimon Tamers. So it's the one that Guilmon evolves into when he merges with Takato. Spoilers, I guess, for Tamers. And then I have a Doraemon, which I don't know if you know what Doraemon is. It's a kid show. I think it was on Disney for a tiny bit too, like Disney XD.
Yes. When you put that up there, I recognized it. Yeah.
Yeah, Doraemon's like a kid show from Japan. Um, Doraemon's been going on forever. The one that you watched was a reboot. I used to watch on Disney XD too, and like it's funny. Johnny Young Bosch voices the kid Nobi or whatever. Like,
Really.
and like he has just like such a soft voice. It's like, man, you're a Power Ranger. You're Ichigo Kurosaki, and you're just like this little kid, and like with no filter. It sounds like too.
Right, right. I will tell you, my kind of on a side note, my kids were quite disappointed today. So we booted up the new Max, and they're like, "We watch Clarence." There's no Clarence. It's gone. Regular show's gone. And so luckily, regular show's on Hulu, and I think so is Clarence. But
Yeah,
they
they
literally
are.
watched.
Oh yeah, I heard regular shows missing like random episodes. It's there,
Yeah,
but it's missing like a lot.
it is. And so like they watched literally the first two seasons of regular show. That's what my afternoon was. Is them
It's
watching
great.
regular show.
Is it
And then
the edited versions or is it not? Because there's so like the HBO Max ones were edited because they say in the first episode or one of them he's like you pissed me off, but then in
no,
the edited they say you ticked me off.
no.
So
And the more I was watching it, the more I'm like, oh my god, this is not for kids. It's like Ren and Stimpy when I was a kid.
yeah,
Um,
it's made for college students. I feel.
yeah. So, but yeah, little side note there.
Yeah, yeah, no. Regular show's awesome. And the last thing that I bought, I guess we'll go with. I don't know how many of these I can hold. I'm gonna be like the meme. I'm just gonna hold up a few of them. So I bought some dot hack enemy cards, a lot of them. I'm holding two right now. I have two more over here, and then I have 8 more over here. I bought 12 boxes for fairly cheap at a store. I don't care if I'm yeah, I'll say it because I've already cleaned out this one. So if you find more, let me know and tell me what they are, and maybe we can work out some deal. Um, but they should be $10 a piece at Ollie's store. There aren't many Ollies. I guess there are, but like they're in certain places in the world. So um, basically, the company that made this game went out of business, bankrupt, and so Ollie's sounds like they picked up a warehouse of all of these, and this game is from 2003, and it's a dead game. So I've heard that all of the boxes and like versions are out there. Same thing with the or expansions. Same thing with the starter decks and stuff. So if you find them, sell them to me depending on what they are because I just bought 12 of them for $10 a piece. I didn't get any duplicates, thankfully. At least I think so. Yeah, I didn't. So I've opened 2 boxes up so far. So that's over 600 cards. Because let's see. So let's do the math. 30 packs per box and uh 11 cards per pack. So yeah, 330. Um yeah. So but there's special X version cards or whatever for the super rares. And so far from what I have here, I have not gotten any dupes yet for the super rares. So I'm very happy about that because you only get my second box. I only got 3 of them, and out of 30 packs. And then my first box, I got 4 of them. So like I have Skaith here, for example. He's not in a thing, but like he is the boss from the first Dot Hack game, so he's here. I got Bear from my latest box, and I got BT somewhere here. She's awful. I hate her. But yeah, I got cool cards and things. So yeah, if you find these at your local Ollies and they're not the Contagion set and they're like another set, hit me up. Maybe we can make it work out some deal, because I'm personally not gonna resell these. I'm just gonna keep them and open them on streams. Honestly, I might keep a couple of them sealed, but overall, I'm just gonna open these until I hit the amounts that there actually are for the set, and then hopefully opening maybe half of these. Maybe I'll get the full set, and then I can just stop opening them and keep the rest sealed. But yeah, Ollie's is crazy. We were talking about that earlier, but like,
Oh,
yeah,
it is.
there's just so many things there that you can get good deals on. Because yeah, $10. I think it's $10 a booster box, and those used to retail for like 80.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling him like as a reseller, there's gonna be people on TikTok that I follow, and they're always in there. Now they're more of like toy resellers,
Mm-hmm.
which to me is difficult. I think Alex has witnessed me buy toys and sit on them for 6 months.
Yeah,
One sold today that I think it's about a year, isn't it? Did
yeah,
you say? Yeah.
I think so.
Because when I told him what I paid for and what I bought him, I was like, dude, I got a deal. And he's like, no, no, you didn't. But one sold. So um, but like you would see these people go into Ollie's and they're like, oh my gosh, this Masters of the Universe figure is now selling for this. And they have like a whole stack, or like the big one was like the DC in the box, whatever those ones are. I don't know. I wish my brother was on, he would tell me. But like they have a variant, or they have like one they don't do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some reason, Ollie's would have like a whole stack of them on
Yeah,
their shelf.
yeah. Ollie's has a ton of comics, and like they're really, really cheap comics as well. Um, but yeah, no, it's really cool and amazing. Like I was afraid that like the Ollie's person would just be like, "No, you can't buy all these." Like
Yeah.
because I didn't know if that was possible. Like I don't know what they're allowed to say or do. Like I guess they just didn't care because I'm just getting stuff off the shelf. But I bought every single Dot Hack box that they had. They had 12 sitting there, just on the shelf. I picked up all of them and brought them to the counter, paid for them, we bagged them, we left.
And for Alex's defense, I've been when what was it? I think GameStop just started doing their clearance,
Mm-hmm.
just started clearancing all these games for no reason. I was buying duplicates of them there, so I'd buy like 2 copies. And like the one time I was there doing it, I was like, man, these are selling for a lot, and they have them for like 60% off.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I buy 2 of them? And they were like, what for?
It's like
So in
why is
Alex's
that
defense,
problem?
yeah, yeah, and he was like, I said, well, one for my kids and one for my nephew, which
Yeah.
it didn't matter what I was using for, but there are sometimes when you go into a store to buy multiple things and people have a no, you can't do that,
Well,
which
because
is weird.
also they might notice like, huh, those people are buying a lot of them. Maybe I should buy some of them. And so they tell you
Yeah,
no.
I was watching a anyone that knows I love watching Phoenix Resale, and he was in a Walmart, and there was a couple guys before him buying like all these and what was it, 3DS games and stuff that they just had that were like clearance for a penny.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was buying them, and this guy had a stack, like huge stack, like 20 or 30 games. And then so he's like, well, I'm gonna start scanning because maybe there's something I missed. Found some like really good ones that were selling for like 30 cents to a penny.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy comes back and was like, "Hey, are you buying all those?" And he's like, "Yes, yes, I am." But like, there's a lot of times where a lot of retail places don't want you doing that, which is weird because if they're clearanced anyway, why does it matter? You know,
Exactly.
that's what I think. That's what sucks is like there have been times where you know, I mean, I've had to have my at another. I'm not gonna say the name of the store. I probably shouldn't say it anyway. But like they had games on clearance and they only allowed me to buy two, so I just had my son buy two and just send him the money
Yeah.
after. Uh, so that sucks, man. Like, but at least they were like cool with it because in my work I travel, and so I'm totally gonna go into Ollie's now. And if I find them, I'll be texting Alex, being like, "Alex, I just found 15 more boxes. You want them?"
You know, I'll probably be like, depending on what these are, and how many boxes it takes to get a full set, be like, yeah, give me 10 of them.
Well, I think it's crazy because I don't sell cards usually,
Mm-hmm.
but when we were talking about it, he was like, "Oh no, these booster packs sell for this," and lo and behold, people were selling them and on eBay, and I was looking and I was like, "That's an Ollie sticker." So
Mm.
that means that they bought these at Ollie's for $10,
And now they're trying to
and the
resell it.
last
Yeah.
bid was like $180.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's crazy because it used to be, you go into Goodwills, right? And you'd find stuff. But I think people really underestimate like places like Ollie's that are just there to get the stock out as quick as possible.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you walked into a store and cleared them out.
Yep. Exactly. And I went there again today. I didn't find any. So, week later.
Did they have any other cards there at all? No.
Wait. Warhammer cards.
Don't know if the word. See, and that's the thing is like
But like
me,
two of them.
like same kind of box style.
No. Like tiny. Like
Oh,
hanging. Like, yeah, I don't know. They look like cards, but yeah. And then the other places I went to didn't have them, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I I'm happy with what I got. Um, I'll be probably opening up more of these in the future, probably just on streams because it's easy and it's fun. Um, but yeah, I have too much stock already, and I'm not even reselling these at all. So I don't plan on it honestly, unless I somehow get the whole set fairly early. I will still keep some sealed, but maybe I'll resell the remaining or something, you know. But I don't know. But yeah, that was a lot of talking about stores.
it was my fault too because jumping in there.
No, you're good. Where'd my stuff go? But you know what we're gonna talk about today? We're gonna talk about these ads that keep popping up. We're gonna talk about the PlayStation Showcase. So the PlayStation Showcase happens um, on Wednesday of last week, and overall, people are disappointed. We are both disappointed. We'll go
Yeah.
through specifically why, but here's the thing though. As we go through this list, we're probably going to sound fairly positive for a lot of these things. The reason why we're disappointed is because this wasn't a PlayStation State of Play. This was a showcase where we expected more out of it, and so our imaginations ran wild justifiably so though, because
Right.
showcases have like that has a bigger meaning to it. So yeah, just because we're positive and doesn't mean that like we still didn't like the showcase
Yeah, I mean,
overall.
there were several like smaller title games that I thought were great.
Yeah,
But I guess for me, since there's no E3, this was like our E3, right?
yeah,
And to go first, they made sure that they were out this month before Xbox's next month. Tells me like when we were talking about it before on another podcast, we were like, okay, so they're coming out first. They're gonna come out swinging, right?
yeah.
And I think this is like a swing and a miss.
Hmm.
And if it wasn't for the last game they showed, um, I think it would have been a total wash. Because I kept waiting. I kept waiting. I'm like, well, they always got to show these smaller titles. Then they go into the bigger titles. They go back into smaller, and then they end on something crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
it didn't happen. It just was. And I was reading a lot of like what everyone else was saying. When I was watching it, I had the chat pulled up. The chat was brutal, um, super brutal, and it was not it was not good. Plus, other YouTubers and people in the video game industry that we follow,
Hmm.
they were about the same. So as we go through it, we're not knocking any of the games here because there was some awesome stuff. I just don't think it was like a showcase level,
Yep, exactly.
you know?
So I'm gonna try to share the screen. We'll see if that works. Hey, there we go. So we will go through these fairly quickly. Some of them we might sit through for a bit, like this first one here. This first one here, Spider-Man 2. We saw a lot. Some
Yeah.
would say a lot of the game, but I personally think it was a good bite size of it, because we saw enough. We saw that I guess I'm we a lot because Venom, I guess. We know that Venom's in the game. We
Yes.
know from post credit stuff from both games that the symbiote has existed.
Yeah.
Um, we know that from this trailer as well. Um, Peter says that Harry is sick. So, spoilers for Spider-Man, I guess, post-credit scenes, but you're gonna know anyway, from just seeing this game and hearing more about this Spider-Man 2. The end of Spider-Man, uh, and I don't know if this happened in the end of Spider-Man or if it happened Miles, I forget. Um, but basically, yeah, yeah. You think that Harry is on like out of town, like in like boarding school, like somewhere else, or just like visiting Europe or whatever. What's actually happening is Harry Osborn is in a tube in Oscorp, and uh, Norman Osborn is like trying to get his son better or something, and he like puts his hand on the tube, and then what reaches out is a symbiote hand. Um, so originally, what we were all thinking, oh, they're changing it. There's no Eddie Brock. It's going to be Harry, and that'd be really cool to see because we've never really had that before, and we don't really need an Eddie Brock necessarily.
Right.
It just it'd be different, and it'd be cool to see Insomniac do their own thing.
Right.
And so with this, it opens up with black suit Spider-Man. He's looking pretty slick in his black suit, helping out. They're chasing Connors, and well, I guess earlier, like there's also Craven the Hunter stuff, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, there's something else that you can hunt instead, and then they show like New York, and it shows like Spider-Man and stuff like that. and I guess it shows Connors the lizard. And so it's just like 6 months later or something like that, and you see, um, yeah, Spider-Man Peter like trying to help out Kurt Connors, and then it says press square to play as Miles, and then
That was really cool.
you switch to because he's like, man, I can't get to that side of the city that fast, and it says press square to play as Miles, and then you play as Miles, and then like the music changes to more like hip hop music in the background. He's swinging differently. They have that new glide suit, which is really really cool for both of
Yeah,
them.
that was really cool to see that.
Um, there's Genki was in a drone thing. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, but yeah, just switching between the two Spider-Men is really cool. It is still a single player experience. They talked about that. Someone tweeted, and that was news apparently, where they're like, "Is this a co-op game?" And then Insomniac tweeted before this event saying that this is an epic single player adventure game or something like that. Um, so we're gonna switch between Spider-Man. Um, it's still the same map because it's still New York. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm looking forward to it because we're gonna see Kurt Connors. Because we kind of had a Kurt Connors in the last game. They did something different which is why I'm looking forward to this Venom stuff potentially. Because the first Spider-Man game, we had Otto Octavius as our Kurt Connors. He was Peter's mentor, and you slowly saw him become a villain. But for this, I guess Peter found Kurt Connors as a new mentor. Maybe now he's working for Connors and doing this stuff. But then Connors, as always, turns himself into the lizard because he has one arm, and he's fighting with DNA vials or whatever, like basically trying to use reptile DNA to clone arms, because like a lizard, like if you cut off its tail, it will grow back its tail. So he was trying to use this for science. He tested himself out first in every instance. Even though he's told not to, he still tests out on himself, and then he has an arm, and then he's really cool. He's playing with both, like he has both arms for a while, and then the side effect is that he turns into a big old lizard, and then like wakes up as his normal self in like the sewer or something. Um, so yeah, seeing the lizard is awesome. Seeing Craven the Hunter, which is I did not expect at all. I knew we were getting a
No.
Craven movie here soon, but I love Craven. I think Craven's a really cool villain. Depending on the type of Craven that we get as well, because there are Cravens who like are just really good big game hunters. There are also Cravens who, like in the Spider-Man, or like the original Spider-Man series, I think, or maybe it's Spectacular Spider-Man, but like they get DNA vials, and like they have like even better senses, like more animal instinct senses. So depending on the type of Craven that we get, it's really cool. But yeah, just seeing him here as the main villain, but then also getting Kurt Lizard, also getting Venom potentially. Yeah, I rambled about that, but I love Spider-Man. So what'd you think about it?
I mean, I thought it was really cool. I think what some of my favorite parts is like when they showed gameplay with Peter in the black suit, they showed him being more angry because the suit is making him angry. So I love that. Um, the glide suit was pretty sweet. That came out of nowhere. The visuals on this game were definitely taking advantage of the PS5.
Yeah.
Um, there was only out of a couple of the games that they showed that I thought, oh my gosh, these like some of the best looking visuals on this console right now. And the last time I said that was Ratchet and Clank,
Mm-hmm.
and of course Ghost. But like, you know, this was like the last thing they showed,
Yeah.
and so you know,
It was long
it,
too. It was like
oh yeah, it was like 15 minutes.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I loved everything. Like what you said there, I think was some of the best. You didn't know at first because of the way they set it up, but having Craven in there, Um, yeah, this was like a good way to end it, just for the fact because it was such a down
Yeah.
there. There was because there was a couple spots where it would kind of peak. We're like, okay, that's really cool, and then it would
Mhm.
just drop off. This was one of the highlights of the show. This is probably one of the 3 or 4, I would say 2 or 3 things that was like top level.
Yeah, exactly. Really quick before we switch to another game, or the next announcement game. I don't know if you caught on this. I'll have to look at the other thing that I heard, but I did notice this where throughout the that demo or that gameplay video, when we first see the black suit Spider-Man, he's pretty clean, but like during the fight, his eyes get more and more like, I don't know, like the tips get like stretched up, more
Yeah,
venom like as he's getting angrier. And then like near the end, he looks all goopy. And he even
yeah,
like gets like the symbiote arm things out. Like he supposedly, I forget who it is. One of the kind of funny people I think said it. I don't remember seeing this. I'm not sure if it's true.
it, I'm
Supposedly
not.
there was like a reaction command thing, and they missed it on purpose because he just blocked it. Like it was like a cutscene thing where it's like he went into a ball and then did something.
Yeah, and I love at the very end of it when he Spider-Man leaves, it's Genki and it's Miles.
Yeah.
They go, "Is he okay?" And Miles like, "No,"
Yeah, he's
you
never like
know?
this or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that's what the best part is like I feel like this game's gonna be a lot of Miles trying to help Peter when Peter was helping Miles in the Miles Morales game, helping him out, dealing with everything he was dealing with and having superpowers. Um, it should be interesting to see. Like, I still feel there are going to be scenes that remind me of the last Batman game when you're fighting big groups of people and you hit a button and you do a combo with the both of them.
Hmm.
I think that's going to happen um, because that's like the best part of that game is when you're in the middle of a fight and you need to switch out. You hit a button and then like you do this crazy combo with Robin or with Nightwing or whatever. But yeah, that scene there you have pulled up there where he has all the stuff out, that
Yeah,
was super sweet. Um, it did make me want to download, and I did download Spider-Man for PS5.
it's so good.
I have the PS5 version, and so my son just finished Miles last week. So going back and playing these, but this was the title. Now they didn't say a date. It
Hmm.
just said fall of this year. So I feel like they're gonna hit it, and they mean fall. It could be November,
Hmm.
but I'm okay with that. I want them to have this game come out, and I want it to be like ready to go.
Yeah.
So
You know what's
yeah,
weird? Looking at this PlayStation Showcase thing from IGN, they don't mention Kurt Connors anywhere in here, and then none of the pictures show Connors.
no,
Like, why are they trying to hide that? Like,
maybe that's a Sony thing. They're like, hey, don't show that,
maybe, but like, it was
because
in
you didn't.
the trailer. You kind of see him like from afar, like the lizard.
Yeah, but they didn't show him at all, even in the trailer. I think it's like a surprise of what they've done to show him. Maybe.
Oh, well, I guess he was in like the warehouse thing for a tiny bit, but it was darker. He was up close, but yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of strange that they didn't talk about that here. Um, so next thing, um, that we can talk about here is Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater, was announced. I don't like Metal Gear Solid 3. It's one of my least favorite Metal Gear Solids out of the three and a half that I've played. Um,
I
I
played very little of this when it came out, but the visuals were kind of like, PlayStation 2, so it was kind of smoky. It was kind of, like not looking very good.
yeah.
This was the other trailer that I was like, okay, so this looks really, really good. Even the part with the crocodile,
Oh yeah,
look,
yeah,
yeah, like just seeing that stuff, and then of course seeing Snake. There was no gameplay. This was
yeah,
super quick. Um, I think this is the second big announcement, and the fact that they're gonna do the other 3 games as well. on like a
But yeah,
HD.
the original 1, 2, and 3 they're re-releasing in another HD collection again, along with the old, not Commodore, but is it MSX? Like some PC Engine stuff maybe,
Yeah,
which it was the Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 and maybe something else. VR missions, I think, for the original Metal Gear Solid.
I remember those. I mean, now the question is, are they gonna like do an upgrade like this? I mean, is this something they
No,
have on the border?
no,
I think it's just gonna be HD.
they are the HD. They have confirmed they are just ports of the HD collections from PS3 and 360.
But I'm okay with that because I when Metal Gear Solid came out, was like if you had a PlayStation, you were playing that game.
I still
And I
have
think
the Legacy collection for PS3, which came with Metal Gear Solid, like all the Metal Gear Solids up to 4. I should really play those at some point, but like I still have that just somewhere like on my shelf over there. But
I mean, I want to play the other ones again and actually finish Metal Gear. Um,
yeah,
you
my
know,
favorite one's 2. I really like 2 a lot because I like the twist, and then um I don't know. I enjoy just how weird everything is in that game.
it's very weird.
But it's also like it's a remake of the first one for a tiny bit, but then it's also not, and then you get a new character. Yeah, 2 is just really cool in what it is. Because yeah, I've really only played one. I mean, I played 1, 2, and 3 for sure. And then I've played Ground Zeroes, which is the 5 prequel like demo thing that came out like before 5. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. It's called Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Um, the reason why it's called Delta is because Delta means like new or something like that. And Metal Gear Solid 3 is technically the first game in the franchise chronologically. So that game series is already confusing. So to
Yeah.
start with the first one first, I think that makes sense. They did confirm all the original voice actors are coming back, so I don't know if it's just reused material or what, because I don't
Yeah, I
think
don't know.
David Hayter said anything about it yet, so we'll see. Um, but yeah, no, Metal Gear Solid, it's a thing. Um, yeah, PlayStation announced this new Wii U streaming device.
Yeah.
It's honestly the Wii U gamepad. That's what it is. It's a dual sense controller split up with a 8-inch HD screen in there. It goes up to 1080p. That's the thing.
So so basically this is the brand new toilet console.
Yep, it's used for remote play over Wi-Fi. That is what it's used for. I don't think it's even like it's a remote play option because the remote play option for PS4 was the Vita.
Yeah.
So
I want to see what the price is going to be on this. They didn't no release date on this.
yeah, it's called Project Q.
Man, they're gonna have to like put it at a good price point. I mean,
Just give me a Vita too. Just do that.
yeah, we'll see on that one.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming out in October. It's coming out everywhere. October 12th, Series X and S, regular Xbox One, PS5, PS4, PC, and even Amazon Luna. Um, let's see. Yeah, Assassin's Creed Mirage.
It was so funny when that pulled up. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I feel like
I want to play the Japanese one. That one sounds interesting to me.
that one sounds very interesting because I feel like they're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not going to different countries or doing different time periods. I feel like they're all the same. Even Valhalla was pretty close. The Japanese one sounds great, but like, I mean, how many times are you gonna do the same thing over and over again before it just gets? You're not Mario. You can't do that. So
Yeah, exactly. The next one is kind of weird. Alan Wake 2. This was announced a while back.
Yeah.
But it's coming out October 17th. It is a digital only game.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
And the reasoning is BS reasoning is what it actually is. They're like, well, we can charge $60 for console and $50 for PC if we don't produce discs. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of true, I guess. And they're
Yeah.
just like giving reason, like the reasons was like, well, we don't need to do it because the Series S exists and there's the digital PlayStation. And so like there's no reason to do it since things are becoming digital anyway.
Right.
And the worst thing that they said though, and like I understand, but this is a stupid excuse. Which was they didn't like that you wouldn't have the full game on the disc and you would have to put in a disc and still download stuff. Every game's like that. Like, deal with it. Like, I don't know. Like, I like having discs because they're there and they exist and they're great.
Right.
But
I don't know. I feel like this is just that start of like them
dumb
trying to get rid of.
excuse.
Yeah, they're just trying to get rid of physical. But I will say that every time they've thought about trying to get rid of physical, it doesn't work. You know, so this is kind of like where it started drooping for me because I'm like, I mean, it's cool, but it's not
Yeah,
what
I knew what it was because they were like a writer and like this other stuff. I've never
Yeah,
played Alan Wake before, but apparently Alan Wake is available on PS5 or something, PS4. So maybe I'll give Alan Wake a chance at some point because there's also Control and all that other stuff. According to them, they said you don't need to play any of the other games to enjoy Alan Wake 2 because it's a new experience and things, but you will
right,
get more enjoyment out of it if you did play those.
right.
So we'll see. I'm gonna go really quickly on some of these other ones here. So, Final Fantasy 16 that comes out June 22nd. We already knew that. It was just another trailer for Final Fantasy 16.
Yep.
Looks great. Really cool one. Dragon's Dogma 2. I also like how it says Dragon's Dogma 2 gets a new trailer. More like Dragon's Dogma 2 gets announced. There was no trailer, like new trailer. This was the official announcement. I believe
I thought that was really cool too
as well. But yeah, no, Dragon's Dogma is an excellent game. It's Capcom.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's very open world too.
Yeah,
which was I thought was really cool. If you could play that with your buddies and just all go in this big open world like that in that Dragon Dogma world, I think that'd be really cool.
yeah. I mean, especially because like they do Monster Hunter and stuff. Like they could do that, like for sure. But yeah, no, Dragon's Dogma is a really good game.
Always runs better than Skyrim.
Oh, of course. That's why I always recommend Dragon's Dogma instead of Skyrim. Back when I worked at GameStop. Let's see, Marathon. There's a new Marathon game coming out, which is a first-person shooter. Apparently, Marathon was a game back in 1992 on Mac.
Yep.
And I've never played it before, but there's a new one, and it's gonna be PvP focused, and it's gonna be a Bungie, like that. One of the things that Bungie was confirmed to like work on because there's like they're going to make new IP or whatever, use existing IP for games as a service games for PlayStation, and so this is one of them. So
yeah. I wasn't impressed with it. I was like, and I like Halo, and they made Halo. Mm-hmm. Now they didn't show gameplay; they just kind of showed a trailer though. So I'd be interested to see a trailer.
Yeah, who knows how it actually is. Let's see. Street Fighter 6 is coming out. They showed a little bit of story mode. It's just basically a trailer. Looks cool. Street Fighter 6 comes out. It's probably already out by the time you're listening to this because I think it comes out this week.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not getting it immediately. The problem with me in fighting games is that I buy fighting games and then no one plays them with me. And then they just kind of sit there. So So I am not buying it anytime soon. I'll wait for a sale. But I love fighting games, so I'm hoping that this game does really well because Street Fighter Five. Oh boy, did that have a rocky start. So, um, yeah, there's a new Haven game. Yeah, Fair Games, I guess. Yeah, it's a robbing game. I still don't really know what it is. Um, but it's for PS5 and PC.
It
Seems
seemed like a futuristic Payday. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it did kind of give that vibe here. Um, but yeah, it's another one of those. Sony is working on games as a service games, and that's what a lot of these felt like.
Yeah.
Talos Principle 2 is coming out for everything except Switch, obviously. Um, it's coming out for all new stuff, I guess. So PS5, Series X, S, and PC. Um, yeah, I never played Talos Principle 1.
No.
Foam Stars. It's Splatoon, but with foam and
Yeah.
anime people from Square
It
Enix.
like when they were showing gameplay, I'm like, this is like straight Splatoon. So like I think I was listening to the kind of funny. They're like, oh great, it's another game that'll be uh up for a couple months and then it'll be gone because no one wants to play it. If you're gonna play something like this, you play Splatoon.
Yeah. I hate this. I'm gonna highlight it. First of all, it's not capitalized. IGN, get it together, because I know your Persona should be capitalized because you're talking about Persona series. Also, I think I've talked about this before on this podcast. Just because something is Japanese does not mean it's like Persona.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's Splatoon mixed with Persona. That's not true. It's Splatoon mixed with any sort of Japanese thing. It doesn't have to be Persona. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't look Persona to me. It looks like VTubers, honestly. It looks like VTubers with Splatoon. Um, Honestly, they look more like anime figures, like the way that they're like shiny and stuff. But it was,
Yeah, they didn't look yeah.
yeah, there was a little bit of gameplay, but I don't
I
know.
think
Like, if it's a free game, I'll give it a try.
I think when this by the time this one was playing, I was like, what is this? Like, I mean, it just
Yeah,
you know, as we go on, it gets worse.
yeah. Although this one's good, but we've seen this before. There's a new Plucky Squire trailer here. Plucky Squire is the one where you're in a book and then you hop out of the book and then it looks more like the Link's Awakening remake where like you look like little toys and I guess you are little toys and you're like walking on the shelf and doing things there and it's more like a Link Between Worlds is how they showed it because you could like do puzzles like in a Link Between Worlds. I don't know if you remember that game for 3DS.
Yeah,
But like you would go to a wall and you would turn into a painting and then you could like walk on the wall and then hop out like to do puzzles. And that's kind of like how they were doing on this where like you would go into a book and walk to another side of the I don't know, the desk and then hop out of the book. So yeah, Plucky Squire looks awesome. I think it looks great. Phantom Blade Zero looked pretty cool.
yeah.
This is
When he
one
was in the
where I didn't know what it was at first. I thought it was a what's the thing? I thought Sekiro at first. Um, at first I thought it was a new Ghost game, like at the very beginning, and
yeah,
then I realized immediately that it wasn't. But it looks awesome. I think it looks good.
like when he was fighting, and then he would like do the sword backwards, and he would move out of the way. So I was looking into this. So they actually had somebody come in that did all the work, like
Yeah, they
so the fight
mocapped
scenes.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it that's what I loved about it. um, I there's no release date for it. I would say this year, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But like this was one I was like, okay, that's super cool. I mean, they were fighting on like horse carriages and like it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like it, this is more of what I wanted for like the whole
Yeah. exactly.
show. But this one was like really good for me. I liked it.
Yeah. The next one's pretty cool as well. It was pretty short. There's a new Ghost Runner coming out. I really like Ghost Runner, but the problem is that game made me motion sick. So, because it's like Mirror's Edge, but you're hopping around a lot and you are like zip zapping with your sword and just going way too fast and doing combat. Um, but yeah, no, Ghost Runner 2 is great because people really like that game, so I'm excited for them. Um, I think this was the first thing that they showed was Helldivers 2. Um, because Helldivers came out in 2015 and finally they've been talking about Helldivers 2 forever, and finally we see Helldivers 2, and that's coming this year for PS5 and PC. There are a lot of PS5 and PC releases here, which are pretty
Yeah.
good. I don't know when the date is of when these things are coming out for PC, but at least they're announcing them for PC immediately.
Do you know what's funny when they showed this trailer? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Starship Troopers. Like it literally had
Yeah,
that vibe.
yeah,
Like, becoming a citizen and all that. I'm like, oh, it's not. Um, okay.
yeah. Giant Squid reveals Sword of the Sea. Giant Squid is this is a mistype here. Man, they did not fact check this even after point. Like, man, the
My
grammar
wife,
is
my wife being an used to be an English teacher, she's read some of these with me and she's like, this isn't right.
developer. Yeah. So they did Abzu and Pathless, and there's also some people who worked on it with like Journey. It seems like a new type of Journey, essentially,
Yeah.
but um, snowboarding and skateboarding Journey. Um, but yeah, it looks okay. Resident Evil 4 VR mode is coming out for PSVR 2. There was no official date given. It was just saying that it is a free update for those who already own Resident Evil 4 on PS5. So that's cool. This was an interesting one here. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2. It's coming out for PSVR 2. This game has not been announced before, I believe. Help Wanted
Yep.
2. Help Wanted was the game that came out on PSVR and then other VRs later. So getting a new Help Wanted is interesting. Getting a new Five Nights at Freddy's game this year is good, especially for the new movie coming out. But getting a VR title, something I don't know if it's exclusive necessarily because they don't really show that, but having a good VR title here is good for VR too, because they did focus a little bit on VR here, and I still haven't bought a VR two because I think it's expensive and there's nothing there for me.
I mean, the base unit's what, $4.99 for the base
Yeah,
unit, and then if you want to get the one with the game, it's $5.99.
yeah,
That's
exactly. It's more than a PlayStation.
absurd. Yeah,
I
and
get that
because of
new
it,
technology and everything is expensive, but even then, it's
yeah,
still much.
well, and because of it, that Oculus, or Meta raised the price of the one that they have,
Yep.
and because they're like, oh well, if they could do it, we could do it. Because I remember the one my son has the year before, I bought it for like $2.99,
Yeah,
right?
it went up by $100 or something.
Yeah, it's like $3.99 now for
Yeah,
that same one.
yeah.
I'm like,
Nothing changed even in the innards.
yeah,
They just
yeah.
did it because they could.
I mean, I guess like, I knew they were gonna do VR stuff. I knew it because like it's a new thing that's not selling very well, I would think.
Yeah.
Um, but like this is where I started getting like frustrated. I'm like, okay, I mean, because they showed a bunch of games and like all the games they showed, I was like, okay, I feel like you've either shown them before or it's like the same type of stuff, you know?
Yep. Exactly. Um, Neva, Greece creators game comes out in 2024. Greece was the game that came out for like Switch, I believe. Very artsy 2D platformer type thing. Cat Quest was one of the games where I was like, why is this even on this
Yeah, that's what I was
thing?
thinking.
Because it looked very not good, I guess. Like, it just didn't belong. It looked like it was a game for PC. It didn't look like it was for PS5. Um, but yeah, no, Cat Quest, Pirates of the Caribbean, I guess. Yeah, it was shown off at that. It's coming sometime next year. Towers of Agasapa. That's coming out next year as well. Yeah, it basically looked like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, when he was using like the glider, I was
Yeah,
like, wow. It was cool seeing him like fly next to the giant creatures, and they're not like a background thing; they're like actually in the game. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
like a lot of these trailers, like you had this, you had the cat quest. I'm like, these are not the games I would feel like you would really want in there.
yeah. It also just feels weird. Like I feel bad for developers sometimes, but I wonder. Like this game should have come out. This game in particular should have come out before Tears of the Kingdom,
Yeah,
because now Tears of the Kingdom's out and no one's going to play this game. Maybe next year when it does come out, maybe people like need to scratch that itch, but then you're just gonna be comparing it to Zelda,
I
because
mean,
it's very much
it
Zelda.
looked like it
Yeah,
in so many ways.
exactly. Revenant Hills coming out for PS4 and PS5. The people who did Night in the Woods, it's a new game like that. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is coming out. It looks like it's Genshin Impact version of Grand Blue Fantasy.
That's what I thought it was.
Grand Blue Fantasy is a game made by Cygames. It's originally a like mobile RPG type game, like a free to play. And then we got Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, which is where a lot of people first heard of it here, as well as there's the anime at that time. So it's had a lot of stuff. So having something that's very gacha and very whatever the game I just said, I already forget what it was, but Genshin Impact. Because it's like that, I think it will do well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know who's developing it because according to this, it says that Platinum was working on it and then they stopped. Ultros is coming out. It's Metroidvania. It looks kind of weird. It's very colorful
It
and
did.
stuff. PS4, PS5, PC. Really weird frame ratey things. Like there's a lot of weird delay on it, so I don't know if that's intentional or if it's just new game is new. So like there's a trailer, but there is a lot of like I don't know, like the person moved, but like it just kind of felt choppy. Um, yeah, I don't know. Tower of Fantasy is coming out. It looked like a Genshin Impact. Um, and then more PSVR 2 games, Crossfire Sierra, Arizona Sunshine 2, which was an interesting trailer. There was no gameplay in it, but it was kind of fun trailer. Um, it was with the guy with the zombies, and he's like, "All my friends are named Fred here." He just like called everyone Fred. And then there's Synapse for PSVR 2, Beat Saber, and I guess they said Resident Evil 4 VR mode in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Concord is coming out. PS5 and PC. I don't remember what that was. PvP apparently. Mortals of Evaeum is coming out for PS5, Series XS, PC on July 20th, and that is it.
I feel like there's a game that we're missing because I remember seeing this and my son was like, "Oh my gosh, I wanted to play that." So there's a game that on that list there. What was it? It's the one where you just like destroy stuff. Like you go and you destroy a building and uh, what was it? I'm looking at different ones that had hmm, Teardown. Did we mention Teardown?
I don't think it's on here. I think they
So
forgot it.
okay, so not only spelling errors. So Teardown was one that was like kind of a big one, and it's very like Minecraft looking, but your job is to like, hey, you go tear down this building, right? and you do it any way you want. You want to drive a car through it, whatever. Um, that's a big one because that's been on PC for a while, you know? So that was the other thing. Overall, I was like very much disappointed in this. A lot of those games they could have just saved for when they do their smaller ones. I think we've definitely talked about it.
Hmm.
And I think we both talked that if it was no Spider-Man, Spider-Man saved them. Uh the the Type Zero one or whatever was pretty cool. There's a couple, and a lot of these games I really did think were cool. I just didn't think that they were like should have been in the showcase.
Yeah.
Which one thing we didn't talk about. A lot of the games they talked about right afterwards, Microsoft did a tweet. They go, "Hey, these are also coming to Xbox,"
Yeah.
and they had like I
8 of
would
them.
say like yeah, 8 of the same games that they talked about on there. But if you're going to go first in this kind of world and it is kind of going against each other, it makes you look bad when your competition is like, "Oh, hey, we're going to have those same games," and I guarantee like almost all of those are going to be free on Game Pass. You know? So, I think that Taoist game, the second one that's coming out, the first one's on Xbox right
It
now.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, so, uh, and so now, Microsoft is like, "Okay, so this is what they've done wrong, and this is what we're reading." So they could switch up their entire showcase of like, "This is what we have to do," for theirs. And I
Exactly.
think, Sony just being arrogant when they did this of like, "Oh, we've got the most systems. Xbox isn't doing very well," but it's so quickly as the tide can turn on sales and stuff.
I don't know if you saw as well, because like some of the things that were upsetting was like there's no Last of Us factions, there was
Yeah,
no I don't know, other main things, no Wolverine, yeah, no new ghosts.
yeah,
There are a lot of things, but there was a tweet that came out recently. I think it was either today or yesterday as we're recording, um, from Naughty Dog, and essentially said that, and what Jason Schreier said as well. I'll paraphrase, but basically, um, the game is on a skeleton crew. It's being reevaluated. It sounds like Bungie looked at it to help them out with Last of Us factions, and then they just don't think it's viable for what they were trying to do. So now it's being
yeah,
reevaluated, and there's less people working on it now than there were before. But the rest of the team is working on a new IP game.
yeah.
So
I
I think
mean,
Factions is going to be vaporware. I don't think it's ever coming out now.
no, and this world in the video game world. It's so quick for plugs to get pulled. I mean, me and you could probably sit here all day and talk about games where they showed video, they showed pictures, and then the whole game got pulled before it even got released. So I remember back in the day going to E3, seeing E3 stuff, and it was like, what was it? I think it was like, I was say StarCraft Ghost, and that was the big talk of what
Yeah.
everyone wanted. That game never came out; it was gone.
You know, a game that
Uh,
people still want is Final Fantasy versus 13.
yeah,
But I mean, that's coming out kind of, because all of the versus 13 stuff that Nomura did, it's in Kingdom Hearts now. And so, like, I don't know if you remember in Kingdom Hearts 3, like, there's the Quadratum with, like, Yozora and, like, all that stuff and, like, the secret boss and all that. But, that is Final Fantasy 13 stuff. Like, even in, like, the DLC, there's a shot for shot of the old Final Fantasy 13 like versus trailer and stuff. So like it's cool that like that is coming back out of nowhere, but like yeah,
right.
there are so many games that just get lost and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and I felt like you know when you go first, because there's several times where Microsoft went first. I think there was the launch of the Xbox One. They brought it out.
Hmm.
They go, "Oh, you can't share games and you can't use rentals,
Yeah.
or you can't use used." And that gave Sony time to go, "This is how you share games with the PS4."
Yeah,
And
the
he like
Shuhei
literally handed
Yoshida. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it gave them time to kinda set that up. So, I'm anxious now to see this and in the shadows somewhere, Nintendo's just laughing, like, our console's, like, from 2017, and we're still outselling, you know, the norm. Like, we've got one I mean, they've got the OLEDs,
Yeah,
but, I mean, I was at Target today, and, like, someone was buying, like, the $2.99 Switch,
yeah.
you know? I feel like they're gonna do a price drop on that, maybe. Um,
It's
I
Nintendo.
don't know. Like, they have one now where it's like, if you buy a Switch now for $2.99, you get 1 of 3 games free digitally.
Huh.
And so you can get, like, I wanna say
Oh, the Mario bundle thing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I think
so,
yeah.
like, we've got an original Switch, it's got a lot of problems,
Mhm.
like the one controller's not charging now. Um, my son had to use my OLED. I think it's time to replace it, but,
Yeah.
you know, um, this was just a mess, and I know that Sony's reading comments, I know they're hearing what people said,
Mhm.
and Microsoft is reading it. So, to me, uh, I just thought this was, like, mediocre.
Yep.
There was very few times I watched this and I was, like, super excited, but then when you saw that last trailer and you saw Craven and you knew it was Spider-Man, right? That's when everything perked back up, but, like, there wasn't not that the games were bad, but it just wasn't the right pick for what this was.
Exactly. I agree 100%. Um, but yeah, that was our podcast that ran longer than I thought it was going to. But yeah, that is the PlayStation Showcase 2023. The last time that we had showcases, we had two. We had one at this time, and then we had another one in September. So maybe we'll get another one in September or something, maybe showing off Spider Man.
I think
Because,
if you get one in September, they're gonna say I think if they don't have a date by September.
well, that's what happened though with God of War. God of War was coming out. Ragnar was that No, it wasn't Ragnarok. It
Yeah,
was regular. It was regular God of War.
I use regular God of War.
Um, and God of War um, had their own showcase in September, and then they were like, because you knew it was coming out that year, and they showed a bunch of it, and they're like November or December, wherever it came out. So, um, I think that it's possible that we are going to get another showcase, and they might show more of Spider-Man, and then that's when they'll give us the date. Um, but yeah, stay tuned and see because we might see more things. Yeah, Xbox is coming up pretty soon. We got the what do you call it? The Jeff Keighley thing.
Oh yeah,
Summer Games Fest is coming up pretty soon. Um, Nintendo is probably going to talk about something here in a little bit, hopefully. Yeah, we just have a ton of things to talk about, and so stay tuned for that. But this has been the Get at Gaming Plus podcast, where we talk about whatever we want to talk about. Today was PlayStation Showcase. If you like what we see, if you like what we see, if you like what you see here or listen here, why don't you go to the opposite? Go over to Spotify and go search for Get at Gaming, and you should be able to find us there. YouTube.com/Get at Gaming. You can get the episodes on YouTube. Those posts on Fridays. You can find the podcast itself that those posts on Wednesdays. Again, bi-weekly. We'll have some special guest things coming up in the future, and those will be at different times. But yeah, fun episode indeed. Was there anything else you'd like to say to the lovely audience?
just to get at it.
Get at it.